Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. My name is Jefferson Howe. I'm a team lead sales engineer for Okta. In this, it's already Tuesday my time, but I'll do a tech sharing Monday session. And in this tech sharing Monday session, I'm here to uh, talk about how can you leverage and maximize your CIAM or CIAM data, and use that data and aggregate that data into your data warehouse. So the topic for this Tech Sharing Mondays is called ELT or CIAM data. And as you can see on the left-hand side, these are all the vendors I'm going to use for this tech sharing session. I'm going to use Okta as the CIAM platform of choice. I'm going to use Fivetran as the ELT platform of choice, and Snowflake as the data warehouse of choice. The reason why I want to go with this talk track or sharing tech sharing session is I want to have any customer or any customer that's using Okta already to maximize the CIM data that's stored within the Okta platform, such that you can create rich, meaningful experiences to your customer, and also use that information or data to drive upsells or marketing campaigns that will allow the customers uh, to be more stickier to your web presence platform, because everything's now driven via e-commerce. So the first question would be, what's CIAM or CIAM, right? So according to Gartner, CIAM or CIAM is defined as Customer Identity Access Management, and it manages authentication and authorization for customer identities. As you can see, for any CIAM platform, it requires core capabilities such as the first thing you'll see here, which is the padlock, is the ability to authenticate users and authorize users as well. Authentication could be as just simple as just logging in with a username and a password. The next step is allowing to store users within a extensible and scalable directory. So here I'm going to show the phone book as a directory, but what I'm just saying here is that the ability for any CIAM platform to store users and also their user profiles. That's why you can see here is like you want to store rich information about the customer. Hence, your CIAM platform should be able to support multiple attributes, and you should be able to extend it up to an infinite amount of quantities. And you want to store as much information as you can, so that you can use that later on to provide a 360-degree view about the customer. And lastly, provide 2FA and MFA capabilities. When I mean 2FA, MFA capabilities, this could be as simple as just challenging the user for something what they have rather than what they know. And this could be in the form of a low assurance factors like SMS, voice call, medium assurance factors like authenticator apps or 6-digit OTP apps, and high assurance factors, which could be driven via biometric like the fingerprint or our face. And for any CIM platform, it needs to provide that flexibility and extensibility. Hence, the CIM platform should have the capability to provide SDKs as a mode of interaction with your application you're building, RESTful APIs, and lastly, the ability to work with third-party identity providers, which are already mainstream in the market. Such social identity providers could be Facebook, Google, Apple, or anything that supports OpenID Connect certified provider, right? And on the right hand side, your CIAM platform should work with different channels, whether it's a web channel delivered through a desktop or a laptop, a tablet or small form factor via a mobile phone, or lastly could be IoT. Right? It could be triggered via watch, or it could be a voice command uh, device like Alexa and Google Home. So after discussing what CIAM is all about or CIAM, the next step is what's under the hood of your CIAM. So under the hood, for any CIAM or CIAM platform, there's a lot of information, but the base principle the CIAM platform is able to take harness of is the technology called HTTP headers user agent. So the HTTP headers user agent is just a piece of string that contains the device information and also the browser information, like what you're seeing here right now. Some CIAM platforms are able to enrich that HTTP user agent by adding more information like geolocation, using your IP address as a starting point, driving and using maybe longitude, latitude if you enable location tracking in your browser. It can also be providing information like your ISP provider. So if you're using Optus, Telstra as your internet provider, then that's one another option that could be captured by your CIAM platform. User information, which is me as a user, authentication, context information, how I actually logged in, what form factor I used to log in, and how I was challenged for authentication is also available within your CIAM platform. So if you actually use Okta as an example, this is how it would look like within Okta system log, wherein you will see information about the actor who answers the who, the client, which is the device, which answers the how or what, and also the user agent, which I mentioned earlier. And lastly, how was the authentication completed, whether if there was done through an MFA, which we are seeing here, and what MFA was used. So different CIAM platforms provide almost overlapping information, but this is how it would look like if you use Okta as your CIAM platform. The next step is, what do we want to do with this CIAM data or CIAM data? In this world, data is power as much as we can. We want to make sure that we're able to harness data to its maximum capability and capacity. And sometimes with this data, we need to make sure that we're able to understand and analyze this data. That's why the birth of AI machine learning comes in, because for AI and machine learning to be successful, it requires infinite amount of data, such that you can build data models, data patterns, and from there predict how then what will be the next step. For SIAM use cases, normally what we want to capture is the login activities, the metrics, how they logged in, what are they accessing, and also how they access it. Because later on, if you're building a new feature or functionality in your website, you want to take note of certain data points. One would be, what's my currently my website, how is it frequently accessed? Is it mostly done through a mobile phone or a tablet or through a browser? And also, what's the device that's being used? Such that later on, if you know that the data infographic tells that your customer base is purely using tablets and mobile phones as the main channel on how they access your service or website, you can create rich experiences using that information, such that the experience for the customer would be more stickier and more enticing for them to come back to you and use your service or web app. So here, the next question, that given that the data is already available and we already know what data is already inside the SIAM, how do we aggregate the data to your data warehouse? So this is the reason why ELT and ETL capabilities or processes are built. ETL stands for E for extract, T for transform, L for load. And what it does is the ability to process data from multiple source systems, aggregate them, and load them into a target system, whether it's a data warehouse or a different system, right? And the reason why ETL and ELT gets interchanged from time to time is purely because of the T word, which is transform. Some people want to transform in the middle, wherein data is being transformed on the data pipeline before it gets loaded to the data warehouse. While if you put the transformation on the latter part, it's just more of like loading of the data. Once you extract the data, load the data in the data warehouse, that's the only time you transform the data. So the reason why we're going with ELT is just purely because of we want to make sure data consistency is maintained after we extract data, load data, and maybe do the transformation later on. And because of this, what tools are available within the market? Hence, as you can see, I'm using Fivetran as my ELT tool of choice. Why Fivetran? The next question you might ask me. The reason why we're going to Fivetran is because, similar with Okta, it's a cloud ELT solution delivered in a software as a service approach, meaning that no on-premise infrastructure required, purely cloud, scalable as part of the process. It provides, the second reason why is because it provides a rich set of pre-built connectors, like same what Okta provides, delivered in the Okta integration network. Fivetran has the same concept. when Fivetran provides pre-built plug-and-play connectors that allows you to connect your different sources system and your target system, such that ELT can be achieved. From a loading point of view, it connects with the mainstream data warehouse, whether it's Snowflake, Google BigQuery, Databricks, AWS Redshift, etc. It's done also through that plug and play approach, which I mentioned earlier. If you want to do transformation, it can be done in two ways. One is just using simple SQL queries, and the other one, if you want to create more advanced transformation, you can use a data builder tool as a way to transform. And the biggest value prop is data pipeline is now made easy and scalable. Rather than doing this for hours, days, or months, it's now done through minutes, which is a big cost saving and also efficiency to your data integrators resources within your company. So let's talk about like how I would demonstrate this use case in my tech sharing session. So I have a high level solution architecture wherein I have three source systems. We start off with Salesforce, uh, then Okta as the login metric provider, which is a CIAM provider, and Postgre database. So to make this more realistic and easy to relate, let's use a fictional company called Lockluster Video. So Lockluster Video, if you have heard of them, they're actually a shop, a DVD rental shop in The Simpsons uh, TV show. Apparently, Lackluster only provides DVD rentals to start off with, but given the emergence of Netflix, Apple TV, and Amazon Prime, they need to uh, make themselves more reachable in the digital channel. And given it's COVID, nobody can come in to rent a DVD and or Blu-ray disc. So what happens now? They're gonna create a streaming service that will allow their existing customers to actually view the content, the video content they have in a in a digital streaming format. So, given that Blockbuster has been there for a long time, they already have built an existing customer portfolio, which is stored within their database. And to connect that to Fivetran, it's actually simple using a pre-built connector that Fivetran provides. Given that they want to create rich and meaningful experience in their digital transformation project, they're using Okta as the main CIAM platform of choice, and they want to use the CIAM data to predict how would they create new features based on the uh, information that's being captured from by Okta, whether it's like how the users are logging in, where they're logging in, what type of device are they using, such that they can now build features incorporating the device information. And lastly, for any new contacts or leads that are created, whenever someone's actually signing up for a free account for Lockbuster Video, they want to store that in Salesforce. As you can see, the CIO, the CTO has a lot of budget because they want to make sure that whenever they build this project or this transformation journey, they make it. They make sure they're able to uh, make it deploy it right on the first time they're doing it. That's why they have Salesforce, and they want to connect Salesforce as well with Fivetran using a pre-built connector such that they can aggregate information into their data warehouse and then visualize that using a data analytics platform, which is called Chartio. So rather than talking more on this one, let's go to the actual demonstration of how we would actually emulate this. So let me stop sharing, share the other browser that I have. So let's start off with the database. So the database is currently hosted in Amazon. It's a PostgreSQL database, and it contains certain tables, uh, and and this is available via the DVD rental database. As you can see, tables consist of the films or the videos they're planning to release in their streaming service within a digital channel. The customer, uh, wherein which are their customer table, which contains all their existing customers, and lastly, who are accessing which videos via the rental table. So if I actually do a query, you can see all of the customers here. So to connect that to Fivetran, it's actually simple. You just go to sign up for a free trial, then go to connectors. Then, as you can see, I already pre-built connected mine, but it's just for clicking this add connector. Then you can actually search for what type of source system you're trying to integrate. So here I'm using PostgreSQL. That's why I would just use the Postgre RDS. But Fivetran supports more than that, right? There's Google Sheets, S3 files. There could be like marketing data from your Facebook, Google Analytics, and like Salesforce, SQL Server, and so forth, and even Shopify. So you just need to click that and it will take you to that onboarding journey. But given I already onboarded one, I'll just show you my existing configuration. When I have, if I click setup, you can see the database endpoint, which is this one, which is available here. The port, which is standard 5432, and the database I'm trying to connect, which is the DVD rental one, and a username and a password for my database, which allows me to connect Fivetran to that database. The next one will be Salesforce. So to connect Salesforce, it's delivered through an auth fashion, wherein you just have to click connect with Salesforce. A dialog prompt will show up, log in via Salesforce, and from there, boom, Salesforce is already integrated. As you can see, this is the org ID, which I have. And lastly, if we want to integrate webhooks or web APIs via Okta, we will just create a webhook or a web API connector. Then from there, Fivetran will actually show the information that you would need to know. And this will be the endpoint on how you would connect to Fivetran via web APIs. And once you have integrated Fivetran sources, source system to your Fivetran, the next step is the destination, right? So I'm using Snowflake as my destination data warehouse. As you can see, this is my Snowflake data warehouse endpoint. The user itself, I'm using to log into Snowflake, and the database where I'm pushing all the information. So as you can see here, if this is my DVD rental DB within the Snowflake data warehouse, if I actually refresh the data, refresh, and I click this one. These are all the schemas that are available from the webhooks, from the Postgre RDS, and also the Salesforce information. So if I actually want to understand who are logging in within the system, I can actually click this preview data. And as you can see, these are all the information that was captured from Okta and pushed down to Snowflake using Fivetran, like the IP, the country, the OS, city, the user, which is me, and also the other users like Cynthia. So given I already showed you how would that look like from an integration standpoint, let's make this more fancier, wherein we'll emulate a live real use case. So the live real use case will be delivered in a format wherein let's go first with having a user from the existing user store where we want to trigger them, send them an activation email. Because given that this new streaming service is going live and Blockluster Video doesn't have a digital presence yet, users from their CRM database or from their existing database needs to create more of a set a password. Given that they already have the emails already available, they just need to send an activation email to this user such that they can set a password and access the streaming video or the streaming service Blockluster wants to provide. So here, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go, let's say, emulate the loading of the users. And I'll go to my Okta console, create this user, which is not this one. Let's go back to this. So this one, I'm gonna use Pamela Baker. Pamela Baker. So here, given that this email domain doesn't exist, I'll just go with a mailinator.com email domain. Same concept, Pamela Baker. Then we can trigger this activation email. Most of the time, most customers would actually just call this or load all their existing users via the Okta RESTful APIs. As I said earlier, as part of the Gartner capabilities, any CIAM platform should provide extensibility either via SDKs or APIs. But for this example, I'm just going to manually create this user, save. Once the user has been created, what we want to do is access the activation email using the mailinator. Pamela Baker. So I'm going to log in as Pamela. As you can see, Pamela has now received an activation email saying that, welcome to Lackluster Video Group. We're now offering a new digital offering. In order to avail this offering, please activate your account. So I'll click activate your account. And from there, I can now set a password, or Pamela can now set a password. Pamela can even set a self-service password reset capability by providing her SMS, wherein she can use that SMS or mobile phone number as a way to verify her later on to do that, or to trigger that self-service password reset. But for now, I'm just going to skip that part and create my account. So once Pamela clicks create my account, this will now trigger process wherein it will redirect the user to the to the Lackluster Video Group website. Very simple right now, given it's a demonstration purpose. So what will happen? This will actually push that information as well into Snowflake via Fivetran using the web API. And how I did that was using Okta Workflows. So with Okta Workflows, this is a new capability that Okta provides, which allows me to orchestrate additional activities happening in Okta delivered in an integration platform as a service. I created three workflows. One is the pushing of the sign-on process called sign-on webhook. So if we drill this down, you can see that this is just using a user sign-in event, capturing the information from the user agent string, HTTP header user agent string, and other information that was captured within Okta, like OS, browser, device, city, state, country, latitude, longitude, and pushing that to the Fivetran webhook API. So if you actually inspect the payload right now, the last data was pushed was Pamela Baker. Outside from that one, I also created another capability called create contact workflow, wherein if someone actually wants to sign up for a free account in Lackluster Video, wants to trial the service out, what will happen, that new customer will be created as a contact within Salesforce. So if you want to emulate that, I created another self-hosted sign-in capability provided by Okta, where I can actually create a new account using the self-service registration capability that Okta provides. In here, I just need to manually provide my email. So here I can go with Lackluster demo3@mailinator.com, set the password, Lackluster demo3, then my video genre could be action. So if I click that, register, this will now trigger the self-service registration process, creating the user within Okta, triggering that workflow, which I mentioned earlier, and create a contact record within Salesforce. So if we go back here, go back to the flow history, as you can see, the latest record is the one which got created via using that self-service registration process. Again, to streamline all this change of series of events or data, what we just need to do is go to connectors of Fivetran, manually maybe do a manual sync such that it will automatically pick that up. Because currently the sync is triggered via a schedule or batch time process for Salesforce. I made it like 5 hours, but you can go to a 5-minute mark. So I'm just going to sync that now. Same with the webhooks as well. I'm gonna sync that capability as well for Pamela. For Pamela. So while we're waiting for that one, which is Pamela Baker's account, what we can do as well is show you how would that look like from a visualization point of view using Chartio, right? So if we go to Chartio, what will happen is that using its integration with Snowflake, it's now able to pick up those data and represent that in a reporting format. So if I actually go to refresh data, you should see additional information about the different information earlier, wherein I have what's my top rated films, who are the users, incoming leads from the registration website, who are the top customers, and also how the streaming service is now being accessed, whether it's done via Chrome, Firefox, Safari, or unknown, or it could be being used via which device, like a Mac OS device, Android device. And also, it also shows me who are the members who are currently situated at bronze, gold, and silver. And where are my users coming from? From Sydney, from Philippines, from Singapore, from Tokyo, and from North America. So while we're waiting for everything to be synced, uh, what will happen is that the information in Snowflake will just be updated using Fivetran, right? So if we search for login activity DB and or like this one, preview data, you should see additional information about the user. So I actually had a test account earlier called Cynthia who logged in. So you should see Cynthia logged in here, wherein I can actually just filter her. So this is my actual uh, request earlier when I actually tested it. So as you can see, I was coming from this IP. So if I do what's my IP, yep, 103. So if we go back there, you should see 103 as my IP for some for some requests. And what device I use, I'm using Mac OS X. Where did I came from? My longitude, latitude, and that's how we would collect all the CIAM data and aggregate them inside your data warehouse, such that you can now use this to create rich information and experiences to your customers. Then for Salesforce, same concept. If I want to search for new contacts that was created using the registration website, I can actually just preview the data, and you should be able to see uh, users like the Cynthia, Lackluster demo. And once the syncing has finished, you should also see Lackluster demo 3 as one of the users, one of the records that are available within the updated database. So to make this more stickier, let's say while we're waiting also for the syncing process to finish, let's say I want to make Pamela, who's currently a silver uh, level customer, to a gold one. So what will happen? I'll change to several things. I'll change Pamela's email within the CRM within the database to a mailinator, such that we can are able to send a marketing campaign here later on. And we want to set let's set that first. So what's her customer ID is 37. So I'm going to update this. Then we also want to convert her VIP level from silver to gold. Before I do that, I just want to show that within Fivetran, I created a transformation configuration that says that for any customer who is converted from silver to gold based on a certain timestamp, which is today, that user will be inserted into the VIP promo. table in Snowflake, such that I can use that as a way to trigger marketing campaigns or reward them because of their continuous support to the business. And I've configured it that this will transformation will only run when there's new data incoming. And this is the database of record, which is the customer database record. So I'll convert, I'll run this query as well. Then if we, before I, and just to prove my point, if we go to the Postgre database table, which is the VIP promo, you should not be able to see Pamela's record. So as you can see, there's no Pamela here yet. So what will happen? I'll trigger this. She's now converted from silver to gold. Then I'll go back to the connectors, go here, run this manually such that that change will be picked up. And the expectation here is that Snowflake will now be updated to contain the newest and latest updates. So hopefully that's done. Hopefully that's done. So if we go back to Snowflake, let's refresh the data. Let's check first the Salesforce record or table, sorry. If we actually preview this one, we should see the cluster demo 3 and Pamela Baker now updated. So this is a new record that was just inserted recently. So if we actually see the created date, it's today's date, which is my time. Yep. Then if we go to the login activity, hopefully something got picked up, but if not, most likely it will take still a while. So if we actually search this, see, yeah, I think it's still like being processed. So yeah, but as you can see, like it already captured the existing logins. It just takes a while. Then while we're waiting for this one, yep, if you go back to the database, still syncing. Still syncing. So this is just a matter of time now wherein we are able to wait for the syncing to finish such that Snowflake can be updated. So the best way to check is that if we check the, yep, so as you can see, the transformation just finished. So if we go back to Snowflake, let's first check for the customer data, which is Pamela. So if we want to search for Pamela's account, you can see certain things have changed. Her email has already been picked up as a change. Her VIP level has changed as well. Part of the chain effect result, if we go to VIP promo, we should be able to see Pamela's account now available here. As compared before, it wasn't there because she was still a silver member. Then to integrate this end-to-end, we're gonna integrate using Okta workflows, integrate Snowflake. So to do that, I already have a code available, which I created using the Snowflake SDK, using Node.js. As you can see here, this is actually just getting the top one email from the VIP promo, which will trigger the marketing campaign. So for now, this is how I'm just doing the demonstration. So let me change this with the proper password. This code is also available for reference, which I'm going to upload in GitHub, so you can actually capture the code and use that later on. So here, to just do that end-to-end, go back to workflows. And I created this workflow wherein it will call that API in a scheduled format. And this will automatically just get the email and use workflows to send a marketing campaign. So if I actually click test, this will trigger It's just taking a while. Hopefully this works. Yep. As you can see, he was able to capture the email of Pamela, and it has now sent a marketing campaign to Pamela, rewarding her because of her continuous support for the business of Lockluster Video. So if we go back to Mailinator, give me a second. Where is it? I'm just looking for it. Yep, if you go back to Mailinator, which is this one, go back to inboxes. Pamela has been now sent a campaign, a marketing campaign, saying that because of that change, she has now is in the highest tier of membership in the platform. Hence, Lockluster is rewarding her with a promo code of Gold Reward 2020, such that she can use it to avail purchases within the website. Because of that, we are now able to create that stickiness, which I mentioned earlier, and also provide a tailored customer experience to your customers using that change that happened within your existing customer database record. So that concludes my demonstration. If I go back to the slide again, let me just stop sharing. Share my original slide. So just to recap, what I shown to you was the ability to connect with different source systems using Fivetran and aggregate them and harness the data within Snowflake. And also use Chartio as a way to show those information. I also forgot, if let's go back to Chartio. If we refresh the data now, given Snowflake has been updated, we should be able to pull the updated data, where we'll be able to see in this new incoming leads, the Lockluster Demo 3 account, and also Pamela's account. And this dashboard is now delivered in a real-time format, right? You're able to adjust based on changes that are happening within your different sources of truth or databases. So going back, as you can see here, using Fivetran, we're able to quickly integrate with 3 different source systems with less than an hour, push that information to Snowflake and reflect that information via Chartio. So here are some of the references which I've shown use as well as part of this demo. You can sign up for free trials using the links provided, and this is a Snowflake Node.js SDK which I created earlier. I hope you found this tech session very informative and educational. Just to summarize again, my name is Jefferson Howe. In this session, I was able to showcase you how you would aggregate your CIAM data into different data points from your different source system, whether it's a database, a Salesforce, CRM, and harness the power of data using Snowflake and Chartio to visualize what's happening, and making sure that the integration or the syncing of data happens in real time using Fivetran. And that concludes my session. And I hope, again, you found it educational, and to the next one, which I'm going to do again using, which I could be releasing in the next few weeks. Thank you. And again, stay safe and have fun.